Kendra rushing to the hospital was the kind of late-night shockwave nobody saw coming, but when Kirk's ICU scandal exploded into the public eye, everything spiraled faster than anyone could have imagined. Cameras captured the flashing red lights, fans online were left gasping for answers, and whispers of betrayal, hidden calls, and a storm of jealousy instantly flooded every corner of social media. Picture it, Kirk lying in critical care, Rasheeda barely holding her composure, and then out of nowhere, Kendra, the ex who still haunts the storyline, storming through those sterile white hallways like she had every right to be there. Eyewitnesses say Rasheeda's face turned pale the second she saw Kendra's heels clicking toward the ICU doors. Some swear Rasheeda shouted, others say she froze. But everyone agrees on one thing: emotions ran higher than they ever had before. Was Kendra there out of genuine concern? Or was this another twisted move in a love triangle that refuses to die? Fans are already calling this the most explosive clash in the show's history. And it all started with Kirk's fragile heartbeat, a hospital room full of secrets, and Rasheeda standing at the breaking point of her patience. The night was supposed to be about Kirk's fight for survival, but instead, it turned into a battleground of love, loyalty, and betrayal. And trust me, this was only the beginning. The night of Kirk's ICU scandal will forever be remembered as the moment when long-buried emotions exploded under the unforgiving glare of hospital lights. It started with whispers and panic calls, Rasheeda pacing back and forth, her phone trembling in her hand, her voice breaking as she repeated Kirk's name over and over again. She wasn't prepared for the chaos that was about to unfold. The emergency ward was packed with family, friends, and nosy fans who had somehow gotten wind of the scandal before it even made the news. And then, like a scene pulled straight out of a drama script, Kendra appeared. She didn't slip quietly through the back entrance. No, she came striding in like a storm, her eyes sharp, her lips trembling with something between fury and sorrow, and her presence alone sent shockwaves through everyone standing nearby. People gasped, phones shot up to capture the moment, and Rasheeda froze mid-sentence, her heart dropping into her stomach. "What are you doing here?" Rasheeda's voice cracked, laced with disbelief and venom all at once. Kendra tilted her head, her tone equally sharp but dripping with false sweetness. "Don't act surprised, Rasheeda. He called me. He wanted me here." The hallway erupted with whispers. Could it be true? Did Kirk really reach out to Kendra from his hospital? Better, was Kendra just spinning another tale to wedge herself back into his life? Rasheeda clenched her fists, struggling to keep her composure. This was supposed to be about Kirk's survival, not about the ghost of old flames resurrecting themselves at the worst possible time. Yet here she was, Kendra, making Kirk's ICU scandal not just a medical crisis but a circus of emotions. Inside the ward, monitors beeped steadily, reminding everyone that Kirk's condition was fragile. Doctors moved swiftly, urging quiet, but the tension in the air was impossible to silence. Rasheeda tried to step closer to the door, blocking Kendra's way, but Kendra's eyes flashed with defiance. "Move," she hissed, her voice low but deadly. "You may be his wife, but don't forget you weren't the only woman in his life." Those words cut deeper than any blade, and Rasheeda's body stiffened as if she'd been struck. Fans online who caught snippets of this exchange were quick to tear the internet apart. Hashtags exploded, with some defending Rasheeda's right as the wife to stand guard and others feeding into the drama, insisting Kendra still had unfinished business with Kirk. Back in the hallway, Rasheeda's mother tried to calm her down, whispering, "This is not the time. Baby, let the doctors do their work." But Rasheeda's anger was boiling, her chest heaving as she stared Kendra down. "You think showing up now is going to fix what you broke? You think barging in here makes you the savior?" she snapped. Kendra smirked, her eyes glistening with something unspoken. Sometimes it's not about saving. Sometimes it's about reminding him who was really there when he needed love. The nurses warned everyone to keep their voices down, but neither woman was backing off. It was as if Kirk's condition had triggered not just a medical emergency but also years of unresolved wounds and betrayals. Fans nearby whispered theories. Had Kirk been reaching out to Kendra in secret all along? Was his ICU collapse the result of more than just stress? Could this scandal reveal darker truths about his relationships than anyone was prepared for? Rasheeda's hands trembled as she pressed them to her face, torn between her love for Kirk and the humiliation of Kendra's presence. In a moment of desperation, she whispered, "Why now? Why, of all times, would you come here?" Kendra's answer was chilling. "Because when a man's fighting for his life, the truth always comes out. And the truth is, he still needs me." Those words hung in the air like poison, making Rasheeda's stomach twist in knots. The cameras outside the hospital captured everything: Rasheeda's breaking expression, Kendra's smug confidence, and the painful reality of a family crumbling under pressure. Fans couldn't look away, because this wasn't just another love triangle. It was a war of pride, love, and history, playing out in the most vulnerable moment of all. As Kirk's monitor beeped louder, a doctor rushed out, his face stern. "We need calm. Stress is the last thing he needs." But how could there be calm when the past and present were colliding right outside his room? Rasheeda's best friend grabbed her shoulders, begging her to stay strong, reminding her, "You're his wife. You're the one who's been here through everything. Don't let her shake you." But the damage was already done. Kendra's presence wasn't just about Kirk, it was a reminder of every wound Rasheeda thought had healed. It was every late-night argument, every whispered rumor, every tear she had cried in the dark, now walking toward her in flesh and blood. And yet, as furious as she was, she could see the cracks in Kendra's facade too. Her trembling hands, her glassy eyes. This wasn't just about pride. Kendra was hurting too. And maybe, just maybe, she truly feared losing Kirk. That fear created a dangerous cocktail of desperation and audacity, fueling her every move. The crowd outside the ICU doors only grew louder, chanting, speculating, turning what should have been a private crisis into a public trial. Fans on social media were posting live updates. "Rasheeda just broke down. Kendra said Kirk called her. This is getting messy." The whole world was watching, and both women knew it. Every word, every glare, every tear, would be judged and replayed 1,000 times over. And then, as if the tension wasn't enough, Kirk's phone, which had been handed to the nurse for safekeeping, buzzed with an incoming call. The screen lit up with a name that made Rasheeda's blood run cold. It was Kendra. Everyone gasped. Did this mean Kirk had been secretly keeping in touch with her all along? The nurse looked at Rasheeda, uncertain whether to answer, but the truth was already loud enough. Rasheeda turned toward Kendra, her voice low and dangerous. "You've been talking to him behind my back, haven't you?" Kendra didn't flinch. She simply raised her chin and said, "Ask him yourself when he wakes up." The entire hallway erupted, with people shouting, crying, and speculating, while Rasheeda's knees buckled from the weight of betrayal pressing down on her chest. This wasn't just a scandal anymore. This was a nightmare. And as the ICU doors opened again with the doctor calling for immediate family only, both women stepped forward at the same time. The tension reached its peak: who would be allowed inside, and who would be left out in the cold. The battle for Kirk's heart had never been this raw, this real, or this ruthless. The next few moments would decide everything, and the entire world was watching with bated breath. The doctor's voice sliced through the chaos like a knife. Immediate family only. For a split second, the world seemed to freeze. Rasheeda and Kendra, standing shoulder to shoulder, both desperate to push past those doors, both refusing to back down. Rasheeda's chest rose and fell rapidly, her eyes blazing with the authority of a wife who had endured years of storms with Kirk by her side. But Kendra's jaw was set, her expression daring anyone to tell her she didn't belong in that room. Gasps rippled through the crowd as both women took a step forward at the same time. The nurse, caught in the middle, raised her hands as if to physically block them. "Please, one at a time," she pleaded, but her words did little to slow the brewing explosion. Rasheeda snapped, her voice shaking but forceful. "I'm his wife. I'm the one who's been holding this family together while he's been out here playing games. Don't you dare think for a second you can walk in here like you matter more." Kendra shot back instantly, her tone sharp as glass. "And yet, when he needed someone to really listen, who do you think he called? Don't fool yourself." Rasheeda, your title doesn't erase his truth. The hallway became a battlefield, onlookers whispering in disbelief as if watching a live episode unfold before their eyes. One fan's phone caught every second, the video already spreading online with captions like, "Rasheeda versus Kendra, hospital showdown." Emotions ran high, and even Kirk's family members couldn't agree. Some sided with Rasheeda, arguing that she had earned the right to be by his side, while others exchanged uneasy glances at Kendra's words, as if wondering whether she was telling the truth. Rasheeda's voice cracked as tears welled up in her eyes. "You think you're here for him? You're here for yourself, for attention, for drama. You're just using his pain to crawl back into the spotlight." Kendra's eyes glistened, and for a brief second, her facade slipped. "No, I'm here because no matter what happened, no matter how much time passed, I never stopped loving him." That confession sent a shockwave down the hallway, leaving Rasheeda speechless and the crowd murmuring in disbelief. Inside the ICU, Kirk's heart monitor beeped steadily, oblivious to the emotional storm swirling just outside his door. The doctor grew impatient, stepping forward with authority. "We can't waste more time. One of you comes in, or neither of you do. He doesn't need conflict, he needs peace." The ultimatum hung heavy, and Rasheeda wiped her tears, squaring her shoulders. "Then it should be me," she whispered fiercely. "I'm his wife. I'm his family. That's what he needs." But before the doctor could nod, Kendra stepped closer, her voice trembling. "And what if I'm the peace he's been looking for? What if seeing me helps him fight harder?" The words sliced through Rasheeda like a blade, and the nurse instinctively took a step back, sensing the confrontation was about to erupt. Fans pressed against the glass doors, desperate to see which woman would be chosen. And social media updates flew at lightning speed. Hashtags like hashtag Team RASHEEDA and hashtag Team Kendra trended within minutes, the public as divided as the family itself. Rasheeda's best friend grabbed her arm, whispering desperately, "Don't give her the satisfaction, girl. You've been holding him down through everything. Don't let her rewrite the story." But Kendra leaned in, her voice low enough only Rasheeda could hear. "You can play the wife all you want, but you know deep down he never stopped thinking about me." Rasheeda's breath hitched, her heart pounding as rage bubbled to the surface. "You're delusional," she spat, her voice sharp and trembling. "If he cared about you, you'd be the one standing here with his name on your finger, not me." Kendra smirked bitterly. "Rings don't guarantee loyalty, honey. His actions do." The tension was unbearable, the kind of scene that left fans clutching their phones in disbelief, their comments exploding with emojis, all-caps reactions, and desperate pleas for someone to tell them what would happen next. Finally, the doctor raised his hand, cutting through their verbal war. "Enough. This is a hospital, not a stage. If you two can't decide, I'll make the choice for you." Both women stiffened, eyes wide with fear at the thought of losing their chance to be with Kirk in such a critical moment. The nurse glanced nervously at the doctor, then at the crowd, then back at the two women, as if weighing the entire world's judgment. Before anyone could speak again, a voice echoed faintly from inside the ICU. It was weak, strained, but unmistakable. "Rasheeda." Kirk's voice cracked through the monitor's steady beeping, barely audible, but it was enough. "Rasheeda," gasped, tears spilling down her face as her knees nearly gave out. Kendra's lips parted, her face pale with shock, her bravado crumbling in an instant. No, he said my name earlier," she whispered desperately, but no one was listening anymore. All eyes turned to Rasheeda, who was ushered through the ICU doors by the nurse. Kendra stood frozen, her heart shattering as the doors closed in her face. For the first time that night, she didn't have a comeback, didn't have a smirk, didn't have the confidence to hold herself together. Fans outside captured her trembling hands as she pressed them against her mouth, trying to hold back tears. The once fiery ex-lover was now left in the hallway, her pain raw and unfiltered. Rasheeda, meanwhile, stepped into the sterile white room where Kirk lay, machines buzzing softly. She reached for his hand, her tears falling onto his skin. "I'm here," she whispered, her voice cracking. "I'm not going anywhere." His eyelids fluttered weakly, and for a moment, their world shrank to just the two of them, husband and wife, fighting for their love against everything threatening to tear them apart. But even as Rasheeda sat by his side, holding his hand, a storm was still raging outside those doors. Kendra wasn't done, not by a long shot. The scandal wasn't over, it was only evolving into something far darker, far more dangerous, and far more heartbreaking than anyone could have anticipated. Rasheeda sat by Kirk's bedside, her hand clutching his with a desperation that only a wife who had weathered every betrayal could understand. The machines beeped steadily, their rhythm like a haunting reminder that his time could be slipping away at any second. Her tears rolled silently, falling onto his arm as she whispered, "You're not leaving me, Kirk. Not like this, not now." He stirred slightly, his lips parting as though to form words, but only a faint groan escaped. The doctor adjusted the oxygen, nodding reassuringly at Rasheeda. "He's fighting," the doctor said firmly. "But he needs peace and stability, not more stress." Rasheeda nodded quickly, wiping her tears, but deep down she knew the storm outside that door was nowhere near calm. Because just on the other side, Kendra was unraveling. She paced the hallway, her face pale, her mascara smudging as she struggled to maintain her composure. Fans filming her every move caught the raw cracks in her facade, the fierce, Confident Kendra reduced to a woman on the verge of breaking. He said her name because he's delirious, she muttered under her breath, her hands shaking. He doesn't know what he's saying. He knows I'm the one who understands him. Her voice cracked on that last word, and for a fleeting moment, everyone saw the truth. Kendra wasn't just fighting Rasheeda, she was fighting her own fears of being forgotten. Rasheeda's mother emerged from the ICU a few minutes later, her stern expression aimed directly at Kendra. Enough is enough, she snapped, her voice trembling with controlled rage. My daughter has stood by that man when no one else would. You need to stop making this about you. Kendra laughed bitterly, a hollow sound that made fans recording on their phones gasp. Don't lecture me. You think your daughter's a saint. She's not. She put up with his cheating because she didn't want to lose the lifestyle. I gave him love, real love. And that's something she could never understand. The hallway erupted with gasps and murmurs. This was no longer just a fight between two women. This was an all-out war, with accusations flying that pierced through reputations and tore apart carefully built facades. Rasheeda's best friend stepped in, her voice rising in defense. You're delusional, Kendra. If Kirk really wanted you, he would have chosen you years ago. He stayed with Rasheeda because deep down, he knows she's the only one who truly has his back. But Kendra wasn't backing down. Her hands shook, her eyes burned with tears, but her words carried fire. If he wanted her so badly, why did he keep calling me? Why did he text me last month saying he missed me? Phones immediately shot up again, the crowd gasping in disbelief. Could it be true? Did Kirk reach out to Kendra as recently as last month? Screenshots started circulating within minutes, alleged messages between Kirk and Kendra. Some reading, I still think about you, and sometimes I wonder what life would be if things were different. The hospital staff tried to push the crowd back, but the damage was done. The scandal had left the four walls of the ICU and spilled into the world outside, igniting an online frenzy. Inside the room, Rasheeda felt the vibrations of her phone buzzing endlessly in her pocket, fans sending her messages of support, while trolls bombarded her with cruel accusations. She ignored it, focusing only on Kirk's weak grip around her fingers. But the weight of the outside chaos seeped into her heart. She leaned closer to him, whispering through tears. Tell me it's not true, Kirk. Tell me you haven't been reaching for her when I've been right here. His eyelids fluttered, a faint whisper escaping. I'm sorry. Rasheeda froze, her breath caught in her chest. Sorry for what? The word was so fragile, so faint, yet it carried the weight of every unanswered question, every suspicion, that had been clawing at her soul. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered back, Don't do this to me. Not now, please. Meanwhile, outside, the crowd grew restless. Security was called in to control the chaos as fans argued over who Kirk truly loved. Some screamed, He'll never leave Rasheeda, while others shouted, Kendra is the one he wanted all along. The hospital had turned into a stage, with emotions running higher than ever. And then, as if scripted for maximum impact, Kendra pulled out her phone. If they don't believe me, I'll show them, she announced, her voice trembling but resolute. With shaking hands, she opened her gallery, revealing photos of her and Kirk together, some old, some suspiciously recent. Gasps filled the hallway as fans leaned closer to get a glimpse. Rasheeda's mother covered her mouth in horror, whispering, Dear God. Inside, Rasheeda's phone buzzed again, this time with an image sent directly to her picture of Kirk and Kendra together at what looked like a hotel bar just weeks ago. Her blood turned cold. She stared at the photo through tear-filled eyes, her hand slipping from Kirk's. She stood abruptly, her chair screeching against the floor. How could you? She whispered, her voice breaking. Kirk's eyes opened, faintly, and for the first time that night, a single tear slipped down his cheek. He tried to speak, his lips forming words that Rasheeda could barely hear. It wasn't what it looks like. But his voice faded, his strength giving out, and the machines beeped louder as the doctor rushed back in. Rasheeda stumbled back, her body trembling as the weight of betrayal crushed her chest. Back in the hallway, the news spread like wildfire. Screenshots, photos, and rumors clashed with reality, creating a whirlwind that no one could control. Fans online screamed in disbelief, typing furiously, He cheated again. Rasheeda deserves better. Kendra's receipts don't lie. Emotions ran so high that even hospital security struggled to keep order. Kendra, though visibly shaken, stood taller, her tears replaced by a twisted sense of victory. He'll always come back to me, she said softly, almost to herself, but loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. The words cut like knives, and though Rasheeda couldn't hear them inside Kirk's room, the echo of betrayal was already carving deep scars in her heart. But what no one knew, not Kendra, not Rasheeda, not the fans chanting outside, was that Kirk's condition was about to take an unexpected turn. And with it, the already fragile threads of this scandal would unravel into something far more explosive than anyone dared imagine. The sudden shrill alarm of Kirk's monitor pierced the already chaotic atmosphere, sending doctors and nurses rushing back into the ICU. Rasheeda's heart dropped into her stomach as she saw the frantic movement around Kirk's bed. "What's happening?" she cried, her voice rising above the din, but the doctor raised a firm hand, blocking her from stepping closer. "We need space. Please step back." The room erupted into chaos as Rasheeda stumbled backward, her tears flowing freely, the sight of Kirk's chest rising and falling unevenly. The doctors shouting for more oxygen. The quick shuffle of feet. It was almost too much to bear. Outside the ICU, Kendra heard the alarm and froze. Her face drained of color, her bravado dissolving instantly into raw panic. "No, no, no," she muttered, clutching her chest as if trying to hold herself together. She pressed her ear to the glass, tears welling in her eyes. "Kirk, fight, please fight." The crowd erupted into panicked whispers, some filming, some gasping. "Is this it?" one fan cried, clutching her phone as she live-streamed. "Are we about to lose Kirk?" The hallway became a frenzy, the atmosphere more like a stadium than a hospital. Everyone desperate for answers, desperate for drama, desperate to know who Kirk's final moments would belong to. Inside, Rasheeda's hands shook violently as she pressed them to her face, praying aloud, "Please God, don't take him from me." And then, almost like fate's cruel hand, Kirk's faint voice broke through the chaos, raspy, weak but undeniable. "Kendra." The word floated out, barely audible, but it was enough. Rasheeda's eyes widened in disbelief, her heart shattering into a million pieces. Her knees buckled, and she fell back against the wall, sobbing uncontrollably. Kendra's eyes lit up with shock and devastation all at once. She slapped her hand against the glass, crying out, "I'm here. I'm right here." Fans gasped loudly, their phones recording every second, knowing this was the twist no one had expected. The doctor shouted for quiet as Kirk's monitor steadied slightly, his fragile body fighting to stabilize. But the damage was already done. The single word had detonated like a bomb in the middle of the room. Rasheeda was inconsolable, sobbing so loudly that a nurse had to gently lead her out into the hallway, where she collapsed into her mother's arms. "He called her name," she kept repeating, her voice breaking with every word. "After everything I've done for him, he called her name." Kendra, on the other hand, pressed herself against the glass, her tears streaming down freely now, no hint of her usual bravado. "He needs me," she whispered hoarsely. "He's calling for me because he knows I'm the one who understands him." Security tried to escort her back, but she resisted, shouting, "Let me in. You heard him, he wants me." The hallway exploded with cries, cheers, and jeers. Some fans shouted in support of Rasheeda, others screamed for Kendra to be allowed inside, while the rest were too stunned to even choose a side. Social media lit up like wildfire. Clips of Kirk whispering Kendra circulated with captions like, "The ICU confession heard around the world," and Rasheeda's heartbreak caught live. Hashtags like #pray for Kirk, #team RASHEEDA, and #Kirk chose Kendra trended globally within minutes. News outlets began picking up the story, turning what should have been a private health scare into a public spectacle unlike anything fans had ever seen. Back inside the ICU, Kirk's condition stabilized enough for the doctor to step out. His face was tired but calm. "He's resting for now," the doctor announced. "He needs quiet, he needs care, and he cannot handle stress." But quiet was the last thing possible in this circus? Rasheeda wiped her swollen eyes, her voice trembling as she stepped forward. Did he really? Did he really say her name? The doctor hesitated, his silence enough to confirm what she feared. Her best friend rushed to her side, whispering fiercely, "Don't let this destroy you. He's weak, confused, he doesn't even know what he's saying." But Rasheeda shook her head, her heart too shattered to believe anything else. "He chose her," she whispered, her voice hollow. "Even at death's door, he chose her." Across the hallway, Kendra stood taller, though her tears were still fresh. Her voice was soft but filled with triumph. "I told you. Deep down, he never let me go. The hospital's administration began to panic as the crowd grew louder, threatening to spiral out of control. Security struggled to keep fans at bay, while Rasheeda and Kendra continued their silent war across the sterile white floor. Every glance between them was a dagger, every tear a battle cry. But the night wasn't done unraveling yet, because just when it seemed the scandal couldn't get more explosive, Kirk's phone still in the nurse's pocket buzzed again. This time, it wasn't just a random notification. It was a voicemail. A voicemail from Kendra, dated just 3 days before Kirk's collapse. The nurse, unsure of what to do, accidentally opened it in front of Rasheeda. The voice echoed through the speaker, chilling everyone in earshot. "Kirk, I know you're scared. I know she doesn't see you the way I do. But you need to leave before it's too late. You and I, we still have time." Rasheeda's face crumbled as the truth hit her like a tidal wave. Fans screamed, phones flew into the air to record, and Kendra froze like a deer in headlights. "That's not what it sounds like," she cried, her voice breaking. But the damage was done. Rasheeda's tears turned to fury, her voice rising like thunder as she screamed. "You've been trying to steal my husband even while he's fighting for his life." The hallway exploded into chaos once more. Security rushed to separate the women as Rasheeda lunged forward, her grief transforming into rage. Kendra shouted back, her voice cracking, "You don't understand. He wanted out. He called me because he knew you'd never let him go." The crowd gasped. The nurses pleaded, and the cameras captured every second of the meltdown. Rasheeda's sobs echoed through the hospital as she screamed, "I stood by him when nobody else would. I built this life with him. And you were nothing but a shadow he left behind." And yet, even through the chaos, the truth was clear. Kirk's scandal wasn't just about infidelity or betrayal anymore. It had become a war for his very soul, with Rasheeda and Kendra clawing for the title of the woman he truly loved. And as the night stretched on, one thing became terrifyingly obvious: when Kirk finally opened his eyes again, someone's heart would shatter forever. But the situation wasn't over yet. The confession Rasheeda had made left a ripple effect across her world. Her family, who had long tried to shield her from the pain of public scrutiny, felt the sting of whispers in their neighborhoods and at church gatherings. People judged. They speculated. Some shook their heads at Rasheeda, labeling her weak for still holding on to love for a man who betrayed her. Others whispered that she was desperate, unwilling to let go of a past that had clearly moved on. But what most outsiders didn't see was the complexity of her heart, the history she carried with Kirk, and the fact that real love rarely follows clean, logical lines. Rasheeda, for all her strength, was still human. Meanwhile, Jasmine found herself at a crossroads. For the first time, she wasn't sure of her own place in Kirk's life. She had fought so hard to be seen, to be valued, to be more than just the other woman. Now, with Kirk's ex-wife publicly declaring her lingering love, Jasmine felt like she was back at square one, an outsider, fighting for validation. It was humiliating, and it gnawed at her pride. She started pulling away from Kirk emotionally, leaving him caught between two women, one who had once been his everything, and another who was supposed to be his future. Kirk, for his part, was unraveling. The media storm was relentless. Headlines painted him as a man torn between loyalty and desire, between his past and his present. He tried to laugh it off on camera, pretending the chaos didn't faze him, but those close to him knew better. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't think straight. The truth was, part of him never stopped caring for Rasheeda either, and her confession only ripped open wounds he thought had healed. But he also knew that his future was tied to Jasmine, at least publicly. That contradiction was destroying him from the inside. The producers, smelling blood, were already planning the next season around this explosive storyline. They wanted confrontation. They wanted tears, yelling, betrayal, the things that kept viewers glued to their screens. And Rasheeda, Jasmine, and Kirk were all pawns in this dangerous game, their private lives laid bare for ratings. But here's the question viewers were left asking: was this love triangle truly about love? Or was it about power, control, and the inability to let go? Could Rasheeda ever find peace in her heart, or would her confession be the chain that kept her tied to Kirk forever? And most importantly, how much longer could Jasmine endure being second-guessed, second-placed, and second-best before she made a decision that would shock everyone, including Kirk? The stage was set, the tension was unbearable, and the fallout. It was only just beginning. The tension between Rasheeda's confession and Jasmine's marriage to Kirk set the stage for the final storm of emotions. One that could either break the fragile bonds that remained, or paradoxically, tie them together in a new and unexpected way. As the news spread, friends, fans, and family members all took sides. Some called Rasheeda brave for admitting her feelings openly, refusing to hide behind silence and pride. Others accused her of being reckless, insensitive to Jasmine's position, and desperate to cling to a man who had already chosen another path. Social media turned the confession into a firestorm, hashtags trending. Clips of the interview replayed endlessly, reaction videos pouring in. Every comment added more fuel, and Kirk's name became impossible to escape. In the middle of this chaos, Kirk himself had to confront what he had long avoided, his own unresolved emotions. For years, he had carried the weight of his mistakes, the guilt of breaking Rasheeda's trust, and the shame of the scandals that followed. Now, confronted with her declaration of love, he found himself torn apart. Jasmine expected loyalty, stability, and reassurance, but Kirk's heart was dragged back into the past, back to moments with Rasheeda that still haunted him. The drama reached its peak when Jasmine confronted him late one night, demanding honesty. "Do you still love her?" she asked, her voice trembling between rage and heartbreak. It was the question Kirk feared most, the one that could shatter everything he had built or confirm what everyone already suspected. His silence in that moment was louder than any confession. For Jasmine, silence meant betrayal. For Rasheeda, silence meant hope. And for Kirk, silence meant he could no longer hide behind excuses or distractions. As the world watched, the story transformed from mere gossip into a cultural conversation about love, forgiveness, betrayal, and the messy reality of human relationships. Fans debated endlessly. Should Rasheeda fight for the love she believed still existed? Should Jasmine walk away from a man who could not give her his full heart? Or should Kirk finally step up, choose a side, and take responsibility for the pain he had caused both women? The unresolved ending left everyone breathless. The confession was not just a moment of vulnerability but a catalyst that shook the foundation of Kirk's world. It was the kind of story that blurred the line between reality and scripted drama. One where the truth was both raw and unforgettable, ensuring that Rasheeda, Kirk, and Jasmine would remain etched into the pop culture conversation for years to come. Can you even imagine the chaos that unfolded tonight? Rasheeda's confession, Kendra's shocking presence. Kirk, caught between the past and present. Fans around the world are still reeling from what they just witnessed. This isn't just another love triangle, it's a whirlwind of betrayal, heartbreak, and raw, unfiltered emotions that have completely taken over our screens. You've seen it here first, but the question still lingers: who truly holds Kirk's heart? Rasheeda's tears, her pain, her relentless devotion, it's the kind of love story that tugs at your soul. And yet, Kendra's desperation, her haunting reappearances, and her claim that she's still the one he needs adds a layer of drama that nobody saw coming. Emotions ran high, voices were raised, and social media exploded the second that ICU scene unfolded. Fans everywhere are debating, was this the moment Rasheeda finally lost her grip on Kirk, or was it a revelation that will ultimately bring them closer? The family was left divided, and the viewers, absolutely shocked. Just think about it, Kirk, lying in that hospital bed, struggling for life, while two women who have shaped his world fight openly, passionately, for his heart. And it's not just a personal battle, it's a public spectacle, a story for the ages, a viral sensation that has taken over every timeline and trending section imaginable. We've captured every gasp, every tear, every whispered word, and every fiery argument, so you don't miss a second of the drama that has captivated millions. The sheer intensity of what unfolded has fans sharing theories, screenshots, and emotional reactions at lightning speed. Comments are flooding in, some crying for Rasheeda, some cheering for Kendra, and others simply shocked that Kirk's secrets are finally being exposed in such a dramatic, unforgettable way. But let's pause for a moment and reflect. Why are we so drawn to this chaos? It's the raw human emotion, the betrayal that cuts deep, the love that refuses to be ignored. It's watching Rasheeda, a woman whose heart has been broken time and time again, finally speaking her truth. It's seeing Kendra, the figure from Kirk's past, refusing to fade quietly into the background, determined to stake her claim no matter the cost. And it's Kirk, caught helplessly in the eye of this emotional hurricane, his every action and every word dissected by fans across the globe. This is reality TV at its most captivating. But it's also a story that resonates on a very human level. We've all had love, loss, and heartache, and seeing it played out so dramatically is both thrilling and haunting. We want to hear from you, the viewers. Who do you think Kirk truly loves? Can Rasheeda's confession change the trajectory of his heart, or is Kendra's persistence too strong to ignore? What would you do if you were in their shoes, watching someone you loved slipping between two worlds, two choices, two futures? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because your opinions are part of this story now. Every comment, every share, every reaction keeps this conversation alive, and it's only getting bigger. Fans are creating memes, reaction videos, and even dramatic reenactments just to process the intensity of what happened. This is more than gossip. It's a movement, a viral storm, a conversation starter that no one can stop talking about. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because the story is far from over. Kirk's ICU scandal, Rasheeda's heart-wrenching confession, and Kendra's relentless pursuit are just the beginning. The next chapters promise even more shocking twists, heartbreaks, and possibly reconciliations that will leave you speechless. You don't want to miss a single moment, because when this story develops, you'll want to be here to witness every second, every reaction, every secret unveiled. Whether it's the private confrontations behind closed doors or the explosive social media reveals, we'll be bringing it all to you first, with all the drama and intensity you've come to expect. So now it's time to engage with us. Smash that like button if you felt Rasheeda's pain. Share this video if Kendra's shocking appearance left you speechless, and comment below with your bold predictions. Who will Kirk choose? Will love triumph over betrayal, or will the scandal pull everyone apart? The more you interact, the more this story grows, creating a community of fans who live and breathe every twist of this incredible saga. We want you to be part of this drama, to weigh in on the heartbreak, the suspense, and the emotional roller coaster that has taken over the internet. Remember, this is not just a story, it's an experience. The tears, the anger, the heartbreak, the shocking revelations, and the lingering questions are all part of a whirlwind that has captured the hearts of millions. And you are at the center of it. By liking, sharing, and commenting, you make your voice heard, joining the global conversation that is reshaping what we think we know about love, loyalty, and betrayal. So don't hold back, let your thoughts, your emotions, and your opinions be part of this extraordinary drama. Stay tuned, stay engaged, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next explosive chapter of this reality-shattering saga. Because trust us, when Kirk finally opens his eyes, and the next twist hits, you'll want to be here first. Fans are already speculating, theories are flying, and the emotional roller coaster isn't slowing down anytime soon. Your participation, your voice, and your reactions are what make this story larger than life. Click like, comment your thoughts, share with everyone you know, and subscribe for the next shocking reveal, because this is the kind of drama you'll be talking about for years.